Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by CACRAO, the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers, and StriveScan. Just have a couple of quick announcements before we get started. First off, how do you ask questions? So there is a Q&A button on your screen, and you can click that to communicate with our presenter at any point. And your camera and microphone are off, so our presenter cannot see or hear you, but again, you do have access to that Q&A button. You can sign up for more sessions, which are happening this weekend through next week at cacrao.org. That's CACRAO.org. And this recording will also be available on that same website, again, CACRAO.org within about a week. So if you'd like to come back to this presentation, or if you have any friends who were unable to attend live, you can direct them to that website. And with that, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to our presenter.
Thank you, and I'm going to share my screen. So please bear with me for 1 second as I do so. Okay, there we are. All right, thank you so much for joining the American University of Paris' session. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Julie Sappington. I am an Associate Director of Admissions at AUP. And that's my email address, so if you have any questions after this presentation, you can directly reach out to me. I am the admissions counselor for North Carolina and South Carolina. I am originally from North Carolina, from Thomasville, North Carolina to be exact, but I have been back and forth with France for years on end. So let's get started. Okay, this is not for you. I'm going to turn to the next slide, excuse me. Okay, so this is a little bit about our student body. The American University of Paris is a small American liberal arts university like you find here in the United States. So we have 1,100 students, but they come from 100 different nationalities around the world. So 50% of those come from the United States, 15% come from France, 15% come from the rest of Europe, and then the rest are from all over the world. So it's a very internationally diverse group of students. We have 26 different majors and 39 different minors. And so these are some of the academic departments in which they land. So international business and global communications are our two largest majors. And then these are followed by international comparative politics and psychology. But of course, no matter what our major is, we do try to take advantage of our location as a part of the classroom. So if you're taking like an art history class, that's very much so going to be taking place in the wonderful museums that are located in Paris. And if you're taking a history course, you're going to, of course, be at visiting historic sites throughout Paris, France, and Europe. So no matter what, we do try to take advantage of that wonderful location. As we are a small school, our class size is very small. So most classes have fewer than 20 students in the classroom. So this means you get to know your professors very well. Our faculty are equally diverse as of our students. They come from all over the world. There is a 9-to-1 student to professor ratio. So it definitely means that you get to know your professors very well, and you get those wonderful experiences of the tight-knit classroom and community within a large city. Our curriculum is taught in English, so you don't have to come with a French background in order to attend AUP. You just have to be willing to learn some French while you're with us at AUP. So our students come with a wide range of French abilities, from bonjour and that's it to fully French fluent. So they are French. So it's a wide range of abilities, and that's okay. We embrace the diversity. Okay, so if you are applying to the American University of Paris, it's a fairly straightforward process. We are on the Common App if you're applying via the Common App to other universities, or you can apply directly through our applications website. So that's on at aup.edu. There is a $50 application fee if you apply via the Common App, and a €50 application fee if you apply through our online application. With the exchange rate as it is now, I think the Common App might be a better deal for you. We require a personal statement. That's the one that you do in your Common App. Supplemental essay. This is no more than 300 words about how AUP fits into your educational goals. A list of activities. If you're applying through the Common App, that's that list of activities where you can list out 10 different activities, or you can upload a resume if you're applying through our website. We require 2 letters of recommendation, your transcripts, and SAT and ACT are optional for us. This has always been the case. It's not just in the case of a pandemic. We have always been an optional school just because we don't always feel that standardized test scores necessarily reflect whether or not a student will be successful at AUP. So what are we looking for then? We do a holistic review. And so what that means is we're not just looking at test scores, GPA, although GPA is important. As you can see, we look for about an unweighted 3.3 GPA or above. But what this means is if you have a 3.7, you're not automatically in. And if you have a 3.2, you're automatically out. That's not the case. We do that holistic review where we're looking at the rigor of your courses. We're looking at your experiences, whether you're interested in taking French or you've been taking other languages, what your career goals are. Have you had well-rounded experiences? Are you interested in international or intercultural exchange? All of those things are taken into consideration as a part of the review. So the first deadline is coming up November 15th. That is our early action deadline, and that means that you'll get your decision prior to our December break. So by the end of December, you'll have your decision from us. Priority admission, so by February 1st, either hit the early action or the priority admission decision deadlines to be considered for the best possible scholarships, merit-based scholarships, and we'll talk about those more later. After the February 1st deadline, that's when we go to a rolling basis. And, we have a lot of different educational systems in the world. And since our students are coming from all over the world, we then turn to a rolling basis at that point. But for the US market, really the early action or the priority admission are the best deadlines to hit. When it comes to attendance, we are a private American university, so we're on par with other private American institutions in terms of our tuition and fees. So the tuition alone is 33,000 euros per year, along with living expenses, it's about 16,000 euros per year. With the exchange rate, that all together in US dollars comes to about 53,000 US dollars as the exchange rate stands now. You will be considered automatically for merit-based scholarships up to 5,000 euros during the initial admission review. And then to be considered for higher awards and need-based awards, you would submit the AUP financial aid application and the FAFSA. So if you're a US citizen, you submit the FAFSA along with our AUP financial aid application to be considered for up to 50% of our tuition. And then we do have a handful of awards that are at 75% of tuition. Our average award is about a third of tuition. So that's about 10,000 euros is the average award. And then US students can use loans to cover the remaining difference. Okay, so this is kind of a timeline to give you a sense of how things flow over the course of a year. So as we talked about deadlines earlier, November is when we have our early action deadline. February is when we have priority admission. That's also when it's good to have your FAFSA and the AUP financial aid application submitted as well. And then we get that decision back to you sometime in March, maybe early April, depending on when you submit your application. We then also have in April, you need to start thinking about where you're actually going to attend. If it's going to be us, you might want to start considering the French student visa process, which we help you with. May 1st is the confirmation deadline when you would need to decide where you're confirming. And then over the summer, we help you again with that French student visa, course registration, and your pre-arrival steps. Okay, let's talk about some of the fun stuff now. Okay, so where is AUP? We are located in Paris, but where? So we are in the 7th arrondissement. There are 20 arrondissements in Paris. We are in the 7th. What that means is if you look to the left side of your screen, there's the Eiffel Tower, and to the right is Invalides, which is where Napoleon's tomb is housed. At the top side of that map, you'll see the Seine River running through the city. We are right there in the Seine River between the Eiffel Tower and Invalides. It is an urban campus. And what that means is you may have a 5-minute walk between classes as you go from one building to the next and you're walking through the city. These diamond shape, yellow diamond shapes on your screen that have numbers inside them, those are our buildings. Those represent our buildings. And as you can see, we have 7 buildings within the 7th arrondissement. And then the circles with the M or the RER in them, those are the public transportation options within our neighborhood. And so as you can see, we are very well connected to the rest of the city. So it is very much so at the heart of the city. Okay, so these are just some views from our neighborhood. Like I said, we are right next to the Eiffel Tower. That's the Champ de Mars. A lot of times our students will go and picnic there between classes or after school whenever they're done with their classes. And this is actually between a couple of our buildings. So this is just a general sense of what it looks like to walk between your classes. This is our neighborhood and what it looks like. The Quai d'Orsay, now we're going to go through some of the buildings that are our buildings. So this is the Quai d'Orsay building. This overlooks the Seine River, so it's right there on the banks of the river. This has student classrooms, meeting spaces, professors' offices, that sort of thing. And the Quai d'Orsay building backs up to another one of our buildings called Combs Building. And those two buildings have the courtyard has been excavated and has been turned into our library. So you're going to see that here. This is our library. As I mentioned, it was the courtyard previously, has been excavated and made into the library. These are some more of the classrooms. And so as you can see, they are small class sizes, just to give you a sense of what it looks like in our Quai d'Orsay building. This is the Combs building, the building that backs up to the previous building. This is also where more student classrooms are held, as you can see. Again, small class sizes. Our Amex Cafe is located in that Combs building. It's on the ground floor of the Combs building. And this is where our students come to gather to meet. Maybe you grab a sandwich and a coffee in this cafe. We do not have a meal plan in the typical sense that a lot of US institutions have meal plans and a dining hall. Instead, we have a small cafe on campus where you're welcome to come and purchase a sandwich or a lunch or a coffee. But the neighborhood that we're in is chock full with cafes and boulangeries, which are the French bakeries where you get lovely sandwiches, and grocery stores where you can have grab and go food. So our students do not starve in Paris. I can guarantee you that, even without a meal plan. In fact, it gives you just a little bit more agency over what you're eating on a typical day. This is our Grinnell building. It's actually located right behind a little church. It's kind of behind, you have to go around the church to get into this building. It's more classroom space and professors' offices as well. Passage Londres is another building of ours. Again, more classroom space, more meeting space. And then we have housing, of course. Where are you going to live? We have residence halls, homestay options, and some apartment style living. No more than 30 minutes away from our campus. These, we can put you together with roommates. You can request a roommate if you have somebody in mind. Yeah. In terms of what student life is like, we really celebrate all of the international diversity that our students bring to our campus. And so we have a World's Fair every year, and this is where students get together and enjoy each other's cultures and customs and food and drink and all of that together to experience other cultural exchange. We have open mic night. That's in our MX Cafe. That's every Thursday night. And we have tons of clubs for you to get involved in. These clubs can change each year slightly just because as our student body changes. We really have clubs that are interesting to our students at the time. So, for example, we have a debate and politics club, we have a film club, we have a Black and Abroad club, an environmental club, all sorts of different clubs that you can get involved in while at AUP. And if there's not a club representing your interest, you can always approach our Student Government Association to request a club, to start a club. Every fall, we have an orientation boat party. This is where our students get to know each other while on a boat on the Seine River. And this is really integral to getting to know other students in this, you get that tight-knit community within that large city. We have study trips throughout the year, and these go all throughout France, Europe, and beyond. And they're tied to coursework. So they're faculty-led trips that where you're taking what you're learning in the classroom and applying it to real-world circumstances. So you might go to Berlin or to Naples or to Nice or Marseille or Brussels. There's all sorts of trips that you can join, and they are always really wonderful experiences for our students to bring really to life what you're learning in the classroom. If you're interested in athletics, we do have some competitive teams and some recreational teams, and you can see those here. And we also have a sports director who's really wonderful. So say one of your sports is not being represented on this page, that's okay. Our sports director can help get you on a team directly in Paris, which is kind of exciting because you get to even widen your span within the city that way. Internships are a big part of the experience. It's not a requirement at AUP to do an internship, but the vast majority of our students do take part in an internship at some point in their time at AUP. And Paris, being located at the center of an international hub with so many different international organizations based there, companies are always looking for our students to take part and intern for them. Also, our students speak languages, so many languages, and companies in Paris know this, and they're always looking for students who speak English, French, and other languages as well. So we maintain a database, and our students are always welcome to search that and work with our internship services office to find a best fit internship for them. And internships in France are paid, so that's kind of a nice plus. Okay, let's talk about what happens after you graduate. 94% of our students go on to be employed or in graduate school within a year of graduation. I think the most interesting statistic here is the 80% have an international element to their career. So whether that's working in another country, working in another language for an international department, whatever it may be, there's some sort of international element to their career. And I think that's because this path really does lead you to that. No matter what major you choose to major in. Okay, that's all for me. I will now open it up to Q&A. So I'm going to open up the Q&A box. Okay, somebody is asking about a recorded webinar they attended a week or so ago. Where would they find that available? If you email me, jsappington@aup.edu. I can help direct you a little bit in that way. I think a lot of our online information sessions are not typically recorded, the ones that we host at the American University of Paris, but it would be where you'd find that. Any other questions? Please, now's your chance to reach out. I'm happy to answer them. I must have covered everything very well during the presentation because I'm not seeing a lot of questions. Because I'm not seeing a lot of questions, again, I'll give it another few minutes to see if you want to add any in, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. But if there aren't any questions, I would like to direct you to a couple of different places. Our website, www.aup.edu. That's where you can look up our admissions requirements. You can also look into our academics and find the majors that might interest you. The other thing that you might want to consider is following us on our Instagram. We have an AUP admissions, it's at AUP admissions, that's our handle on Instagram. We have student takeovers most Tuesdays. And those are really wonderful because you get to see firsthand what it's like to be a student at AUP, and they answer questions through that, and it's always a really wonderful experience. I do have a question here. Somebody else has asked a question. Thank you for joining. Would American or other international students be able to visit the campus before applying or attending? We typically really welcome visits to AUP. That's in a normal year. We would love to have you on campus. We'd have campus tours. You could sit in a class, that sort of thing. At this moment, we are not offering tours due to the pandemic. And to travel to Europe at this point, if you do not have an EU passport, can be kind of difficult. So for our students who are coming in the fall, for example, though, you get the French student visa and that allows you in. But if you don't have a French student visa or an EU passport, it can be rather difficult to get into to tour right now. So instead, doing what you're doing right this moment by attending a webinar, or we also have our own online information sessions that we host throughout the year. Please come to one of those. That's another way. Or you can connect directly with one of us in the admissions office, and we can help try to give you as much information as possible that way. Another student has asked, I want to major in history and looking for a huge diverse course offering. If I were to receive a history degree from your school, what career fields do you have in the area that I could pursue? It's an excellent question. Our history major is very strong. And what's great about it is, it does kind of focus more probably on Western history, just given that we are in Europe, that kind of tends to lend itself to that. But because we are located in Europe, which is also just so rich with history, there's a lot of in-person trips to monuments and historic sites and that sort of thing, to really try to bring that classroom alive a bit, and have that real tangible experience in addition to, the lesson. So we also have a history, law, and society major. So if you're thinking maybe you're wanting to potentially go into the law side of things at some point, that's a really great kind of pre-law, informal pre-law major. So that's something to consider as well. Another question that's popped up is, what kind of club and activities do you offer? Yes, so we have clubs on campus. They can, like I said, they can change a little bit each year depending on our student body and their interest. So essentially right now we have a film club. We have a French, the film club puts on a French film night every month. And so there's this film screening every month where you get to come and see a French film, which is always exciting. We have AUP for consent. We have environmental clubs. We have debate and politics club. We have a wine society. We have a photography club. We have a fashion council. How did I forget that one? That one's one of our biggest ones. We don't have a fashion major, but of course, being located in the heart of Paris, which is sometimes considered a fashion capital, we have a lot of students who are interested in fashion and maybe go into the business side of things and then pursue it. So lots of different clubs that you can get involved in. But again, like I said, if there's a interest that you have that's not being fulfilled already with a club, you're welcome to start a club. Our Student Government Association approves clubs and delegates, any funding towards them and that sort of thing. So that's a great way to get involved too. You can also join our Student Government Association. That's another great way to get some leadership experience. And also you get to help with the planning of activities on campus as well, which is always fun. In terms of activities, we have a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, which is kind of an interesting thing because, being Thanksgiving is very much so an American it's an American celebration, and being in France, it's just kind of unknown. So all of our non-American students are very intrigued by it. Again, it's another time to have that cultural exchange experience where everybody comes together. We have a World's Fair. We have, we put on a musical or two every year. So there's lots of activities you can get involved in. Okay. There's the question. Do you have any courses or degrees in fashion design? So when it comes to fashion, we are not a design school. So it's not like that you can take a fashion design class, but we do have fashion related courses within business and communication. So you can take like a fashion marketing course or a fashion communications course or something like that. In fact, a lot of our business majors do go on to work in the fashion fields. And you probably saw on our slide with the internships, there's a lot of fashion related internships that our students take advantage of while they're in Paris, since there are so many huge headquarters there. Any other questions? I really appreciate you all coming and asking the questions that you have asked. It's been really nice having you here. Okay. One more question about the tuition. Somebody asked if it's 53,000 US dollars per year or for all four. That is per year. And like I said, we do have scholarships and financial aid to help that become more affordable. So the scholarships can go up to 75% of our tuition. That's not living expenses, that's just tuition. The average award's about 10,000 off. So, you know, and then you can use if you're a US student, you can use loans to cover some of the difference too. Good question. Thank you. It looks like there's no more open questions for the moment. So again, follow us on our Instagram. That's AUP Admissions. That's the handle of it, at AUP Admissions. Like I said, there's student takeovers that take place on Tuesdays, and they're wonderful. You really get to see what the student experience is like, and you get to ask the student questions. They usually have a question section, and they give you nice, lovely answers, so you can ask very specific questions about that. You also get to know about some of the things we'll be doing. So if there's going to be another webinar or something like that that you can join, you can get information about that on our Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. You're welcome to follow us there and see a visual sense as well. Our website is www.aup.edu. And that's where you can find the official information on how to apply and our academics. That's my email address. If you have questions, I am the admissions representative for North Carolina and South Carolina, and I'm a North Carolina native. So I'm happy to talk over any questions you may have. And so just be in touch that way. I think I'm going to have our Stripe scan. Turn it over to StriveScan now. Merci tout le monde pour nous joindre, and thank you very much.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for that great presentation. I am going to just quickly share my screen with a couple of last reminders for all of you who are here in the webinar. So as far as what will happen next, there is a quick survey when you close out this window for question survey. And we do appreciate it if you would just fill that out. And you can sign up for more sessions on the CACRAO website. That's CACRAO.org. And this recording, as well as all other previous webinar recordings from this virtual college exploration for CACRAO, are also available at that same site. Again, CACRAO.org. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful day.